Okay, here we go. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tina
morning.
Finale. I'm here with See What She Can Do Conversations, the podcast. My co-host, Caroline Wiley, is here with me.
Good morning.
We have two lovely ladies with us today. They are women entrepreneurs and they have created product with purpose. We're going to talk today about pandemic self-care and about how we can do a better job supporting women-led organizations. And then we'll learn how chocolate and underwear can make a difference. Welcome, Rosaria Giorgi and Chantal Carter, to the show.
Thank you for having me here, and good morning.
Good morning.
Good evening. Thank you for having me too. So excited.
So let's dive right in.
What I'd love to know this wonderful morning is, how has the pandemic impacted you and your business? Give us a sense of, what it's been for both of you.
Who wants to go first?
You know what, Chantal, you go first. My apologies.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Hello, hi Caroline, hi Tina. Okay, the pandemic, how has it affected business? Oh my gosh, there's so much to say about it.
Sure.
And yourself too. We know, because we're also entrepreneurs, that there's such a blurred line between personal and business, and it's really all part of who we are. And the pandemic certainly can't, in many cases, the pandemic has amplified things that we have challenges with. So it can be personal and it can be business.
Yeah.
Sure. And sometimes there can be silver linings.
Yeah.
So, perhaps there can,
No, this is like, for me, even the pandemic is dressed up as a nightmare, but it's really a dream.
Interesting. Okay, explain. Let's hear.
Tell us how.
Well, because like you said, it forced me to look at myself and stop and pay attention, because there was no other choice.
Right.
How I was running my business, how I was as a person, the things that I was fighting, or the things that I was struggling at, like perfectionism. I really got to see that, how I didn't want to put anything out there unless I thought it was perfect. So it stalled me from doing a lot of things in the past. So COVID allowed me to be perfectly imperfect, because we were all stuck. We were all in the same boat. And some of the things that I would never have done before, like, for example, I did a test on Instagram Live. I was just testing to see how it worked. And when people would jump on, I said, yeah, nothing to look at here. I'm just testing.
That's fantastic.
I would have never thought of doing that before, because I would have been too scared to do that, like how I looked and not looking like I was all organized and perfect. So it really got me to relax a little bit and stop pushing things. Like, I felt like I was pushing a boulder uphill.
Yeah.
It enabled me to step back and really look and see what was really happening for my business.
And did you find, Chantal, that what you saw was that people were actually a lot more accepting than you thought they might have been? I mean, that's what I'm seeing, that people are a lot more patient and more relaxed. And
exactly. Wow. I was allowed to make mistakes. Where before I felt like I couldn't make a mistake. I was allowed to make mistakes. People were more forgiving, patient, understanding. Like, the humanity came back to people, because before it was just so rush. I need this now. What kind of customer service is this? And it just brought things down to a calm for me in that way.
Well, you know what? We're really appreciative of your authenticity and just sharing, because you're not the only one, especially when you're running your business and you're at the helm of it, where you want things to be perfect, and we know there will never be a perfect, right? So just kind of accepting the situation that you have, obviously working the best that you can at it. And thank you for sharing, because I think just putting yourself out there and trying new things is awesome.
Yeah, and just doing the best I can.
Yeah.
That was the beautiful part, and that's good enough.
Yeah. How about you, Rosaria?
Well, Caroline, Tina, first of all, it's a pleasure to see and get a chance to talk to you again.
Oh, well.
Then,
to you too.
Food-based, you're very welcome. As a food-based business with a very complex supply chain, of course, the pandemic was and still is somehow a logistic nightmare. Also, I was extremely busy traveling, always attending trade shows, visiting existing customers and potential new ones. So exactly like Chantal, it forced me to stop. And it was a forced break that at the beginning it felt very unnatural. And also I thought that was the end of the business if I couldn't travel and keep the pace I was keeping. In reality, it gave me time to concentrate on certain aspects of the business I had probably neglected. With my team, we sat down and really worked on our communication, on our values and our outreach to our customers that I think improved during the pandemic. And also on a personal level, there was such a sense of solidarity among the startup community and the food and beverage community as well.
I love that solidarity. It's so true. It's so true. That's awesome.
And really, we were all on the same boat, but it was a boat of peers and true friends, I must say. I'm not ashamed of using the word friends because I got a lot of support. I felt the humanity of it all. And so really, it created this sense of not being lonely. And sometimes being an entrepreneur, you face this sense of loneliness, which I didn't feel during the pandemic.
Right.
Well,
and certainly, we tend to think of our competitors as enemies, if you will, for lack of a better word. But when, as an industry, you come together because essentially everyone's facing the same thing, that sense of solidarity is inspiring for everybody. It's a change of perspective, I think, on operating business, a particular business.
Well, we also see the power that it has when we come together to work together. I mean, we have a great example in town in Aurora, Tina's restaurant, where the gentleman is going from restaurant to restaurant. He has his own restaurant, yet he's traveling from restaurant to restaurant, and he's posting all the great meals that he's having there. And the whole restaurant business, I mean, we know that industry has had a huge hit as well, right? And they're like, the whole community has come together. They're all supporting each other. And it's such a beautiful thing to see. You want to, as a consumer, visit those restaurants. You want to be able to, uphold them and help them thrive. And so, what I hear from both of you guys is this kind of thread of humanity, which is amazing, right? That whole thread of humanity and how we've all relaxed a little bit and shown some kindness towards each other and are more open to accepting flaws, which we all have, right? I guess that kind of circles us back around, how we've, hearing you guys both speak about how you found that silver lining and what it's done for you. What are you doing in the midst of that for self-care? Because we know that those lines are blurred, and where do you think, you may have challenges that you could do better from that front? Any kind of strategies or tips that you want to share out with people?
Well, for me, I've been really into my spirituality and personal development. So podcasts have been my best friend for the podcasts that speak to me about like my spirituality, and because I'm stepping into that more, and just running your business with humanity and care. Those types of things like fuel me, and listening to my intuition. I'm learning to listen to my intuition more and more. So it's making me stronger and more confident in what I'm doing and what I'm putting out there, right. Which is not about, what I think everybody else wants. I'm listening to my spirit. I'm letting that guide me, and I'm so much more relaxed and confident. One of the things that are challenging for me, because the weather, it's getting cold. So I was stuck in the past, like, oh my gosh, it's winter. I can't stand winter. It's cold, this and that. What am I going to do? But yesterday was such a sunny day. I said, you know what? I'm going to go out.
Yay! I'm so happy to hear. Did you go dog shopping? That's what I want to ask you. We talked the other day about possibly bringing a dog into the family. Her son's pushing for it.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, Chantal, I asked if you went dog shopping. Didn't we talk the other day about your son pushing for a dog?
No, but I saw a little dog while I was walking. So it's like I keep looking at dogs, so you never know. And or maybe that'll force me to go outside more. But I took a walk, and it just felt so good. It was unexpected, the way I felt. So I feel encouraged about going outside. I'm going to Montreal. I know it's pandemic, but my mother is by herself. So anyway, the point is, I'm looking at skates now.
Yay.
Excellent. And is that something new for you?
Well, it is. It's nostalgic because it's something I used to do. I grew up in Montreal. We used to do that all the time. We used to go to a skating rink almost every day.
Wow.
Excellent.
And it was so much fun. And I'm looking forward to doing that again, looking for skates so I can do that, and snowshoeing. Nice. I remember I went snowshoeing when I was young, and I still remember it. So obviously it had a great effect on me, and I'm looking forward to doing that this winter.
Okay, we have we both have a set of snowshoes, and actually we have an extra one for you, Rosario, too, if you want to join us. And we've got some great paths near us. So we'll make a date.
Okay.
That's right. In a socially distant,
in a very socially distant way. You're
way.
Outdoors, and you got lots of space between you and the forest. It's just so magical, right? Like that whole being outside and just absorbing and appreciating the weather for what it is. I mean, Rosaria, you're originally from Italy. So what do you think of this cold weather? How many winters have you been here?
Oh, a lot. In January, I'm gonna be in Canada for 10 years.
Okay.
And I love the Canadian winter. Coming from Italy, where a half a centimeter of snow grinds the country to a halt, I just love the efficiency of Canada.
Yes.
Planes taking off and landing even in the midst of a snowstorm. But I really love the Christmassy feel of the Canadian winter. So I love it. I don't ski, however, but I enjoy walking. My first winter in Canada, I had Italian winter shoes and Italian coats. It didn't really work out, but now I'm equipped, so I walk. I don't own a dog, but I have a cat. And although I don't do curbside pickups, or I never queued outside stores for myself, I do that for the cat. So I walk to get his provisions. I make a point of walking.
Amazing.
And for you, Rosaria, what has been your key self-care strategy, tactic?
I did a course called The Science of Well-Being that I started in March. It's run by the Department of Psychology at Yale University. And it was initially meant for the students to give them some mental health support. And then it went online and became the most popular course Yale had, because obviously there was a need for it, but also because of its benefits. So at the beginning of the course, there was a test to measure your level of happiness. And after 10 weeks of good practices through the course, you could measure your level of happiness again. And in 10 weeks, mine had gone up by 18%, which is quite remarkable.
Wow.
And one of the, yes.
What's the name of that course again, Rosaria?
The Science of Well-Being by Yale University, and it's online. And one of the practices I took on during the course was meditation. So you are asked to pick a habit and just keep going for 10 weeks. And for me, it was meditation, which I did religiously every day at the end of my working day before a very well-deserved glass of wine. And it was at the beginning very hard to find that place of flow, but it worked out. And of course, I keep doing meditation every day now because I've seen the real benefits of it.
Are you seeing an impact on your business too?
Well, I would say that I really suffer from anxiety, and that I'm able to manage my anxiety levels and my stress much more through meditation, really. And also I can see a progress. For me, it's important always to see a progress. So from meditating 3 minutes at the beginning, now I can meditate 15 or 20.
That's amazing.
So
Fantastic.
Of course, it's something that I would recommend.
Well, what I love about that is the measurable aspect. Like, you measured it at the beginning,
yes,
and then they encourage you to measure it afterwards. I mean, that's a lesson for us all. Like, to just, be able to go back and say, look, I improved by 20%. And that's how you feel. I mean, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. We should all do the same. When we go out for those walks that we didn't really want to go out for because you would rather have sat on the couch, but you went anyways, and you feel so much better afterwards. I mean, that's a great time to journal or write or, put it into an app or do something to show yourself psychologically how much better you feel afterwards, right? And
the return on investment, really, of your time.
Yeah. So is that all on demand, Rosaria, or is it live class?
And when I did it, it was through Coursera, and it was for free. You could join. I guess it's just offered online by Yale because, of course, they want to help people. So I think you can go and check online and just enroll and do your homework, though, because you should do your homework. I think it's important that you keep track of your progress or even your setbacks, but that you do it as if you were doing it in person in a classroom, I think.
Amazing. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back after the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about your companies and your products with purpose that are making a big difference. So hang tight, and we will be right back. As a result of COVID-19, leaders around the world are facing some of the most challenging situations they've ever experienced. In times like these, the ability to be resilient is really paramount. David Patchell-Evans is the founder and CEO of Good Life Fitness, and he's learned firsthand in his 41 years running his business about the importance of resilience. He's created a free habit-building 21-day experience to help leaders bounce back. Check out goodlifefitness.com, where they have a blog, and this is where you can get your free digital guide. Okay, we're back.
Nice to be back. So I'm going to ask this question to both of you, and Rosaria, you can be the first to start. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what made you start each of your companies, and how is it that you want to make a difference through it?
Well, I've always been quite passionate about the food I buy and I eat. I'm someone that has always read the ingredients before buying. And for this reason, I remember a lot of animated discussions with my teenage niece and nephew, because they just thought chocolate was Nutella, and to get good chicken, you just get to McDonald's. So,
Although Nutella does taste yummy, but it is, you're right, it is not real chocolate.
a couple of years ago, I was having dinner with them, and I saw that there was some chocolate on the table, and instead of eating it, they were both discussing the ingredient list and complaining about how artificial it was. And I was absolutely amazed because I first thought that they were right. Conventional chocolate is not really the food of the gods and the superfood that scientifically cacao has proved to be. And also, probably my entrepreneurial side was tickled. And I started thinking, wow, if those two kids read the ingredient list, maybe there is a business opportunity. Maybe the market has really shifted and the consumer sensibility has totally gone into a different direction. So I started doing some research, and the results proved that definitely consumers were expecting organic, sustainable chocolate, what I call real chocolate. But in reality, in the market, there was just conventional chocolate that didn't keep any of the nutritional benefits of cacao. And a lot of consumers didn't even know what real chocolate could taste like or was like. And so that inspired me to try to crack the code of a better chocolate and to reimagine the process of chocolate making from one that just feeds to one that nourishes. And I did that with the help of artificial intelligence, something so advanced as AI, combined with an old cold crafting technique. That means that temperatures never go above 42 degrees when making chocolate. And so we were able to preserve cacao's antioxidants. We saved over 430 aromas that are naturally present in the cacao beans, but are usually lost during conventional manufacturing. And as a result, we created a chocolate brand and a chocolate texture that is what we call obviously unconventional, because it's a crunchy texture and it has very snappy bite.
Excellent. Wow, that's amazing.
And this artificial intelligence in chocolate, how does that work? I would never put those two things together.
Yes.
Well, it's about data. I knew there was a consumer's demand and market demand for real chocolate. However, in order to create a new food product, I needed a lot of data. And I needed to understand what consumers' expectations would be like if you were to offer them their dream chocolate product. So AI was used to gather and mine millions of publicly available data from social media posts, published articles, peer reviews, scholarly papers, etc. And the data was mined in order to identify the key trends for chocolate in the next 5 to 10 years.
Amazing.
And we managed to incorporate the 5 key trends in our chocolate, which is why people love it, because it's a dream come true. They didn't know even they wanted it until they tried it.
Well, and not only does it taste delicious, I have some very personal experience, and I do send them well, first of all, we should state the name of your company, Xauxa, right? Have I pronounced that correctly?
Xauxa chocolate that loves you back. And now you know.
So Zauxa. Beautiful packaging, beautiful product. I mean, you open up, the pistachio is my favorite. You open it up and there's nuts. Like that just, I mean, it's beautiful. There's only 3 ingredients in it, right? So you really do hold true to that, chocolate that nourishes. Yes. And that's real. I love your statement. I'm going to read it because I think it's amazing. You've basically said, we are here to normalize real chocolate, celebrate unconventional choices, and empower courageous acts. It's so poetic. Like, it's beautiful. I love that. I mean, I'm a foodie too, so that just like hits me right in the soul. So let's jump over to Chantal. Chantal, tell us a little bit about your company and your products and how you're making an impact.
First, I have to give props to Rosaria for that chocolate. I was telling her because I've had personal experience with it too. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't put it down. I can't keep it around long enough. So like, it's an amazing product. I can't wait to share it with other people as well. So my product, how I started is my business is called Love and Nudes. And the name means love and respect your nude as well as other people's nudes. So that's in regards to skin tone colors, because nude is more than just the color beige. And it's marketed mostly as beige in fashion and in the market in general. And that's not the whole picture. So how I started is I always had a love of fashion. I grew up in Montreal. My mom worked in the garment industry, so I was always around it. I became a wardrobe stylist, and all the models that would come in were expected to have nude undergarments. So it meant that something that matched their skin tone. So whatever it is, whatever outfits they had to put on, their undergarments wouldn't show. But the darker skin models never had that option. In addition to that, they would bring their own makeup, their own foundation, because they were afraid that the makeup artist wouldn't have a color to suit them. So right from the get-go, it would be awkward for them because they didn't have nude undergarments. And I was like, what's going on here? And whenever new trends were discussed in like on fashion television or in magazines, I was always waiting for them to show something that looked like me too, but it never happened. Mm-hmm. It was about beige. And I questioned that. It's like, what about the rest of the skin tones? It's just so simple. Why isn't there brown bras, different shades of brown bras? I thought it was a Canadian problem. And I went to New York, or I sent my mother to New York to look for it too. Couldn't find it there. And I wanted to wear nude trends as well because I knew what it was for. To keep my undergarments discreet. I wanted nude shoes to elongate my legs, but that wasn't an option for me or people that looked like me. And I just had a real problem with that. And I thought I was crazy because it's like, it's just so simple. Just make more colors, right? There must be something wrong. And I started doing research and I saw that there was a petition on Facebook for bra manufacturers to make brown bras. And I knew I wasn't crazy. I was into something. So, after mulling around with it for years, because I didn't know what to do, and I wasn't telling anybody about what I wanted to do, because I thought the idea would sound stupid or would steal it from me. But along my personal development journey, I discovered that somebody said you have to tell somebody, the right person, about what you want to do so you can get help to do what you want to do. And I did that. I reached out to a manufacturer, a fellow lingerie designer in Toronto, and she turned me on to an incubator or an accelerator that helped people bring their fashion-based products to life. And that's how Love and Nudes was born.
Love and Nudes. And even the name is beautiful. What I love is your colors. And it's kind of cool because even though you don't sell food, you're kind of connected at the heart with Rosaria and with us because we're all foodies here too. So, honey, and butterscotch and espresso and, where do those names, like, what's your thought around that? And how did that come to be? And how do you help people find their tone?
Well, I wanted them to be empowering names. So it wasn't just about food because it's like, okay, so my deepest shade is called Espresso Empress. So that represents her. And then there's Knockout Nutmeg. that represents her. And then there's Butterscotch Beauty that represents this tone. And then our lightest tone is Honey Love. And I guess I'm connected. I'm seeing that now that I'm so connected to food.
But it's beautiful. Like they're empowering. Like even espresso, it's a rich, deep flavor, so delicious, especially at 3 p.m. in the afternoon when you're exhausted and you need a pick me up. Do you know? Like,
right?
But you've tied it to words that are, you know, authentic and tied to the person's soul.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
it's even deeper. Yes.
Well, and your whole notion of believe in your own beauty. I mean, this is where it's cool. People are like, underwear, what? How is that making a difference? But you are making a difference because this is so much deeper than a set of intimates. This is about just being yourself. And this, what I also love is that image you have on the site, so people can go to loveandnudes.com and see the rainbow and how beautiful we are when we're all together, like every shade. It's just beautiful. I love it. So
well, that's what it's about, because like in my community, the Black community and the brown community, it's not celebrated to be dark.
Yeah.
And I know it's because of colonialism and other reasons. Like people of color are not depicted positively in media. And what really set the turning point for me was that when I found out that skin bleaching is a $10 billion industry.
Yeah.
So bleaching is people who are chemically lightening their skin. Okay. Yes. Because they want to feel more accepted, because dark is not good. You know, that's the message. The unsaid message and the said message. The unsaid message is where you don't see anybody that looks like you in media, you know, and then there's the messages of your family or your community telling you, stay out of the sun, don't get too dark, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like, no, that's bullshit. We're all beautiful the way we are.
Absolutely. Yeah. And representation is key. Like you need to see that in media. That's one of the things we do at See What She Can Do, right? Is that, you know, and it's not just representation for the sake of it. Like we all have this capacity within us. The whole notion of See What She Can Do is, like, you know, we can all do amazing things. It doesn't matter what your physical level, what you look like, what your, you know, your mental capacity is. Mm-hmm. Like we all have something to celebrate. Both your brands are about celebration, love it, and both of them are around fairness. Like those two things, maybe 1 minute each on fairness, and then we want to jump into your products before we wind down. Do you want to talk a little bit about fairness, Rosaria, and how it applies to your business?
Sure. Well, when it comes to chocolate and cacao, that's key, because the biggest chocolate makers, they have normalized a system where that is so opaque, where they cannot guarantee that tragedies like child labor, modern slavery, deforestation don't end up in the final product. And of course, I wouldn't stand for that. So we are extremely proud that we only use a fair trade cacao, but also that we have a fully transparent supply chain. So we know our growers, our farmers, we know that they're paid above market and they're paid living wages. And even when it comes to other ingredients that are not sourced from countries that you usually associate with unethical practices, we still make sure that the ingredients are ethically sourced. For example, our almonds are sourced through the only fair trade network in Italy. They come from Sicily. And since a lot of seasonal laborers are involved, they're usually exploited and paid very little wage. And in our case, we guarantee them a normal wage, like a normal Italian wage. And also we are vegan, and so we're very happy that not only we say no to ingredients that are bad for the planet, but also to the environment, but also to our animal friends.
Amazing. Okay, let's jump over to you, Chantal. You've got a really interesting approach around fairness as well. Do you want to talk? You've got a minute on that one?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the product itself is about fairness, representation of different skin tone colors, and that they're all beautiful. But in my supply chain too, I support a woman-owned facility in South America, and that was huge for me because like it's very male dominated there. So just the fact that two women ventured out to create a business that supports their community as well, it was just synergy. And so our bra and panty makers, most of them are single mothers being paid a fair wage. So that was huge. Because it's like I knew I did not want to develop my product in China. I just knew that. People tried to encourage me to do that, and it would be cheaper and more quantities, but it's like, it just didn't feel right. Mm-hmm. I liked that story. I wanted to support a community. I wanted whatever I was doing to be giving back somehow. And I feel that's what I'm here to do.
Amazing.
And
that's great.
Amazing. Yeah. So we have a couple of minutes. We're going to quickly, Chantal, thank you for showcasing your bras and panties. I'm going to quickly unbox some of the beautiful Xauxa chocolate that we received. Look at the beautiful packaging. Isn't that gorgeous?
It's gorgeous.
Look at it. And we have, amazing. I mean, this is my favorite, the pistachio, the Sicilian pistachio. But my mom loved the Sicilian orange. She had that for her birthday. Yeah, and even the stickers, eh? Like, look at, or you want to take the ones to actually open them up?
I'm going to actually show it to the camera. There you are.
Yeah, and that's the almond, and then the sea salt, Sicilian sea salt. I mean, they're so beautiful. I'm going to open up just one. I'm going to open up the Sicilian pistachio because it's just so beautiful.
Because Tina wants to start
because I'm going to open it up so you can hear the crinkle crinkle. But the beautifulness of, like, just look at the beauty of this chocolate. Like, you can see it all, right? It's just so gorgeous. So I'm excited to share that with my family over the holidays because we're going to be sitting in our houses and maybe just wandering around the neighborhood and doing stuff, but I'm going to be enjoying some chocolate. And we are going to, we're going to share this out with our listeners. We're going to make sure we put links to both Love and Nudes and Xauxa chocolate on your podcast episode note links. And we encourage everybody to check you guys out and to learn more about who you are. So thank you so much for joining our show, ladies. We were thrilled to have you here.
It's awesome.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and happy holidays, everybody.
Yes.
Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care.